There is a leafy green cultivated in Korean monastery gardens for 15 centuries that contains more omega-3 than any other plant on Earth. Laboratory analysis confirms 60% of its oil comes from the same compound that makes fish oil valuable. Cardiologists recommend patients spend $40 a month on supplements derived from ocean fish. This plant grows in a 5-gallon bucket filled with water, no soil required, and no grow lights needed. Harvest every 7 days. At the end of this video, you will know exactly how to set up your first bucket that can transform your dry seeds into fresh, omega-rich microgreens ready to eat. If you have ever wanted to grow your own omega-3 at home without depending on expensive supplements or declining fish populations, you are in the right place. Subscribe and leave a comment about what you want to grow next. Welcome to Secrets Beneath Nature. Walk into any pharmacy in America today. The supplement aisle stretches 15 to 20 feet long. Bottles of fish oil capsules line the shelves in rows 3 to 4 deep. Nature Made, Nordic Naturals, Carlson Labs. The labels promise heart health. They promise brain function. They promise reduced inflammation. Consumers reach for these bottles without questioning where the contents actually come from. Global consumers spend over $5 billion annually on omega-3 supplements, according to market research published in 2024. That number grows by 8 to 10% each year. The supplement industry projects revenues exceeding $7 billion by 2028. Every one of those dollars depends on a simple assumption, the assumption that omega-3 must come from fish. The fishing vessels that supply this industry operate across the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. They target small forage fish, anchovies off the coast of Peru, menhaden in the Gulf of Mexico, sardines in the waters near Morocco. These ships deploy nets that capture millions of tons of fish each year. The global fish oil industry requires 20 to 25 million metric tons of wild-caught forage fish annually, according to research published in the journal Marine Policy in 2021. Here is the detail that supplement manufacturers never mention in their advertising. Fish do not produce omega-3 fatty acids. They cannot synthesize these compounds. Fish accumulate omega-3 by consuming smaller organisms that ate even smaller organisms that originally obtained the compound from microscopic plants. The omega-3 in every fish oil capsule traces back to photosynthetic organisms at the base of the food chain. Research published in Nature Food in 2022 calculated the biological cost of this supply chain. Producing 1 gram of EPPA and DHA from fish oil requires 8 to 12 grams of wild fish biomass. The inefficiency is staggering. The environmental cost is accelerating. The question that nobody in the supplement industry wants consumers to ask is simple. Why extract omega-3 from the middle of the food chain when you could go directly to a plant source? In the mountain temples of Korea, Buddhist monks faced this exact problem 1,500 years ago. They maintained strict vegetarian diets, following religious principles that prohibited harming any living creature. No fish, no meat, no animal products of any kind. Yet these monks did strenuous physical labor. They practiced martial arts. They sat long, demanding meditation sessions that required a sharp, focused mind. They needed the brain supporting nutrition that omega-3 provides. Temple cooks in the Silla dynasty, a period spanning 57 BCE to 935 CE, experimented with every available oilseed. They tested sesame seeds brought along ancient trade routes. They tried wild hemp seeds gathered from mountain slopes. They cultivated flax in monastery gardens. Each seed offered different characteristics, different flavors, and different nutritional profiles. One plant emerged as the clear winner. They called it deulke, the wild sesame. Western botanists would later classify it as Perilla frutescens. The temple cooks chose this plant not because of laboratory analysis they could not perform, but because of results they could observe. Monks who consumed dulke regularly maintained sharper mental function. They recovered faster from physical exertion. They demonstrated the cognitive clarity that omega-3 supports. Agricultural records from the Joseon dynasty, spanning 1392 to 1897, describe sophisticated cultivation methods. Temple cooks did not simply grow perilla in summer gardens. They developed indoor winter cultivation techniques using on-doel floor heating systems. They sprouted perilla seeds in shallow containers during the coldest months. They harvested young greens within days of germination. The tradition of growing perilla microgreens is not a modern innovation. It is a practice refined over 5 centuries of continuous experimentation. Modern science eventually confirmed what those temple cooks discovered through observation. Research published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry in 2017 analyzed the complete fatty acid profile of Perilla frutescens. The results were remarkable. Perilla seeds contain 54 to 64% alpha-linolenic acid as a percentage of total fatty acids. This makes Perilla the single richest plant source of omega-3 ever measured. For comparison, consider the plants that receive attention in Western health food markets. Flaxseed contains 45 to 55% ALA. Chia seeds reach 55 to 60% in optimal growing conditions. Neither approaches the upper range of Perilla. Neither germinates as quickly. Neither produces microgreens with the same combination of speed and nutrient density. Korean researchers publishing in the Journal of Food Science and Nutrition in 2020 focused specifically on Perilla microgreens. They measured omega-3 content at multiple growth stages. 7-day-old Perilla microgreens maintain 58 to 61% ALA content in their lipid fraction. The germination process does not dilute the omega-3. It preserves the concentration while adding living enzymes and chlorophyll not present in the dry seed. A 2019 study published in Food Chemistry confirmed this finding from a different angle. Researchers documented that Perilla microgreens retain 85 to 92% of the parent seed fatty acid profile. The omega-3 survives the transformation from dormant seed to living plant. The microgreen form delivers these essential fats in a food matrix that human digestive systems evolved to process. This matters because of how omega-3 supplements are manufactured. Commercial fish oil undergoes molecular distillation. High heat and chemical solvents extract the target compounds. The resulting oil is encapsulated in gelatin derived from animal bones and skin. The consumer swallows a processed industrial product, multiple steps removed from any living food. Perilla microgreens are alive when you eat them. The cell walls remain intact. The omega-3 fatty acids exist within functioning plant tissue. USDA researchers documented in a landmark 2012 study that microgreens contain nutrient concentrations 4 to 40 times higher than their mature plant counterparts. The first days of a plant life concentrate resources for explosive growth. Harvesting at this stage captures that concentration before the plant dilutes its nutrients into stems and larger leaves. The supplement industry responds to plant-based omega-3 with a standard objection. They claim that ALA from plants is inferior to E, PA, and DHA from fish because human bodies convert ALA inefficiently. This claim contains truth but omits important context. A meta-analysis published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 2019 examined conversion rates across multiple studies. Human conversion of ALA to EPA ranges from 8 to 21%, depending on individual genetics, gender, and dietary factors. This sounds low until you consider the quantities involved. A single serving of Perilla microgreens provides 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams of ALA. At the conservative 8% conversion rate, that delivers 160 to 240 milligrams of EPA. At the higher 21% rate observed in some populations, that delivers 420 to 630 milligrams of EPA. A standard fish oil capsule contains 180 milligrams of EPA. Research published in the British Journal of Nutrition in 2020 found that women convert alpha-linolenic acid, known as ALA, to longer-chain omega-3 fatty acids at rates 2.5 times higher than men. Female bodies appear evolutionarily adapted to synthesize EPA and DHA from plant sources. Pregnant and nursing women require omega-3 for fetal brain development, and reliable plant sources would provide survival advantages in environments without consistent access to fish. A 2022 study published in the journal Nutrients followed participants consuming consistent ALA from plant sources over 12 weeks. Tissue omega-3 levels rose comparably to groups taking low-dose fish oil supplements. The body adapts to available sources. Consistent ALA consumption upregulates the conversion enzymes. The more plant omega-3 you consume regularly, the more efficiently your body processes it. Now, the practical question. How do you actually grow Perilla microgreens in a bucket without soil or special lighting? The method requires minimal equipment and produces harvests every 7 days once you establish a rotation system. The container is a standard 5-gallon bucket with a lid. These buckets cost $3 to $5 at hardware stores like Home Depot or Lowe's. You can also find them for free behind restaurants and bakeries. Food service operations discard these buckets constantly. The bucket provides a contained, humid environment that seeds require for germination. The growing medium is not soil. Use simple burlap fabric or a hemp mat cut to fit inside the bucket. 1 square yard of burlap costs $2 to $4 at fabric stores or garden centers. Hemp growing mats designed for microgreens cost slightly more, but they last through multiple growing cycles. Either option provides a surface for roots to grip while retaining moisture. The seeds are Perilla frutescens. Korean grocery stores in cities like Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, and Atlanta sell these under the name dulce. 1 pound costs $8 to $15 depending on the source. Online suppliers offer larger quantities at lower per pound prices. 1 pound of seeds provides enough material for 20 to 30 growing cycles. Your cost per harvest drops below 50 cents after the initial purchase. Additional supplies include a spray bottle for misting and a measuring cup for portioning seeds. You likely already own these items. Total startup investment runs $15 to $25. Each harvest cycle produces 150 to 200 grams of fresh microgreens. At retail prices for specialty microgreens exceeding $20 per pound, your first harvest recovers the entire equipment cost. The process begins with seed preparation. Measure 2 tablespoons of Perilla seeds for each bucket. This density provides optimal coverage without overcrowding. Place the seeds in a glass jar or bowl and cover with room temperature water. Allow the seeds to soak for 4 to 8 hours. Overnight soaking works well for most schedules. Research from the Korean National Institute of Agricultural Sciences documented the importance of this step. Pre-soaking increases germination rates from 70 to 75%, up to 90 to 95%. The water penetrates the seed coat and triggers biochemical processes that prepare the embryo for growth. Skipping this step means slower germination and lower yields. After soaking, drain the seeds thoroughly using a fine mesh strainer. The seeds should feel moist but should not sit in standing water. Excess moisture during the germination phase creates conditions for mold growth. Mold is the primary failure mode for beginning microgreen growers. Proper drainage prevents this problem before it starts. Now assemble your bucket. Cut your burlap or hemp mat to fit the bottom of the bucket. The material should lie flat without bunching or folding. Saturate the growing medium with water by pouring slowly and allowing absorption. Then tilt the bucket to drain any pooled water. The medium should feel wet throughout, but no puddles should remain. Spread your pre-soaked seeds evenly across the wet surface. Work for a single dense layer with seeds nearly touching each other, but not stacked on top of one another. The density matters because seeds support each other during germination. Crowded seeds push against their neighbors and grow upward rather than sprawling sideways. This creates the upright, uniform growth that makes harvesting easy. Place the lid on the bucket, but do not seal it completely. Leave a 1/4 inch gap between the lid and the rim. This gap allows air exchange while maintaining high humidity inside the container. Carbon dioxide from germinating seeds needs to escape. Fresh oxygen needs to enter. A completely sealed environment leads to anaerobic conditions and failed germination. The covered bucket creates a dark, humid environment that triggers germination without requiring any light source. Seeds evolved to germinate underground in complete darkness. The absence of light signals that the seed has been buried and should begin growing upward to reach the surface. You are replicating natural soil conditions without the complications that soil introduces. Place your bucket in a location with stable temperature between 68 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. A closet works perfectly. A basement maintains consistent temperatures. The space under a kitchen counter stays dark and temperate. Avoid locations near heating vents or exterior walls where temperatures fluctuate. Consistent warmth produces consistent germination. Check your bucket daily during this phase. Lift the lid and observe the surface. If the growing medium appears dry or the seeds look desiccated, mist lightly with your spray bottle. 2 or 3 pumps directed across the surface provide adequate moisture. Do not soak the seeds. Do not create puddles. Light misting maintains humidity without encouraging mold. Within 48 to 72 hours, you will observe the first signs of life. White root tips emerge as seed coats crack open. These roots push downward into the burlap, seeking moisture and anchorage. The seeds transform from dormant packages into living organisms. The omega-3 content remains concentrated in the emerging plant tissue. By day, 3 to 4 pale stems push upward. The seedlings seek light they cannot find in the dark bucket. This etiolation stretches the stems and produces tender shoots. Research from the University of Florida Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences, published in 2018, demonstrated that microgreens grown in the dark accumulate 15 to 23% higher concentrations of certain fatty acids compared to light-grown counterparts. The darkness serves a nutritional purpose beyond simple convenience. The germination phase completes between day 5 and day 7. Cotyledons expand into broad, paddle-shaped leaves. These first leaves contain the highest concentration of omega-3 fatty acids in the entire plant life cycle. The cotyledons store nutrients from the seed and have not yet begun diluting resources into true leaf production. Optimal harvest occurs when cotyledons measure approximately 1 inch across, but before true leaves emerge from the center of the plant. True leaves appear as tiny pointed structures pushing up between the rounded cotyledons. Once true leaves begin photosynthesizing actively, the plant shifts its metabolism. Resources move from lipid storage toward carbohydrate production, and omega-3 concentration in the tissue drops measurably. Harvest the entire tray by cutting stems just above the growing medium with clean scissors or a sharp knife. Work in sections across the bucket. The stems cut cleanly, and the microgreens fall away from the roots still anchored in the burlap. Rinse your harvest briefly under cool running water to remove any loose seed coats. Pat dry gently with a clean towel. Fresh Perilla microgreens can be consumed immediately for maximum nutrition. The omega-3 begins oxidizing once cell walls are damaged by cutting. Eating within hours of harvest delivers the highest quality fats. For storage, place unwashed microgreens in a sealed container lined with paper towel. Refrigerate at 35 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Quality remains high for up to 5 days, though some nutrient degradation occurs. One bucket produces a substantial harvest, but the real power of this system emerges when you establish a rotation. 4 buckets in sequence provide continuous production. Start a new bucket every 2 days. When bucket 1 reaches harvest on day 7, bucket 2 is at day 5, bucket 3 is at day 3, and bucket 4 just received seeds that morning. The rotation ensures fresh, omega-3 rich greens available every 2 days throughout the year. No seasonal limitations and no dependence on weather. No shipping from distant farms. Your kitchen closet becomes a year-round production facility requiring approximately 10 minutes of attention every 2 days. Annual yield from a 4-bucket rotation provides fresh microgreens 52 weeks per year. Total annual cost for seeds runs approximately $40 to $60 depending on your supplier. The equivalent omega-3 from fish oil supplements would cost $480 annually based on typical retail pricing. You save over $400 per year while producing a fresher and more complete food. This calculation does not include the environmental costs that fish oil consumers externalize onto ocean ecosystems. Your buckets require tap water and seeds. No fishing vessels burning diesel fuel, no refrigerated trucks transporting frozen fish to processing plants. No plastic bottles shipped from manufacturing facilities to distribution centers to retail stores to your medicine cabinet. Each bucket you harvest represents reduced demand on collapsing fish populations. The anchovies, sardines, and menhaden that would otherwise become supplement ingredients remain in the ocean. They continue feeding whales, dolphins, seabirds, and larger fish. The marine food web retains its foundation. The environmental mathematics are striking. A single person consuming fish oil supplements requires the harvest of approximately 15 to 20 pounds of forage fish annually. A family of 4 consumes 60 to 80 pounds worth of marine resources for their supplement habits. Those fish represent food for ocean predators. They represent reproductive capacity for recovering populations. They represent functioning ecosystems. Perilla microgreens require water that returns to the water cycle through normal processes. They require seeds from plants that produce thousands of seeds per individual. The cultivation is regenerative rather than extractive. Each cycle ends with compostable root material and fresh seeds ready for the next planting. The question becomes why this knowledge remained obscure while the supplement industry grew into a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. The answer lies in economic incentives rather than scientific evidence. The omega-3 supplement market reached $5.1 billion in 2024, according to Grand View Research. Nordic Naturals has built a brand valued in hundreds of millions of dollars. Nature-made omega-3 products occupy premium shelf space in pharmacies nationwide. Carlson Labs has operated for over 50 years selling fish oil to health-conscious consumers. These companies depend on continued purchasing month after month and year after year. A 5-gallon bucket cannot be patented. Perilla seeds exist in the public domain. Traditional Korean cultivation methods developed centuries before intellectual property law existed. No venture capitalist earns returns on knowledge that requires no licensing fees. No supplement company benefits from teaching consumers to grow their own omega-3 source. Research funding follows commercial potential. Pharmaceutical companies fund studies on formulations they can protect with patents. They do not fund studies on techniques anyone can replicate at home. Academic researchers pursue grants from available sources. Those sources favor innovations that generate returns on investment. A bucket and some seeds generate no returns for anyone except the person doing the growing. Traditional documentation remains largely untranslated. Korean agricultural scientists published methods in Korean. Japanese researchers documented techniques in Japanese. Western consumers never encountered this information because no economic entity benefited from translating and distributing it. The knowledge waited in temple kitchens and agricultural archives for someone to explain it clearly. Now you know. The omega-3 that supplement companies extract from collapsing fish populations grows in buckets on kitchen counters. The fatty acids that support brain function and heart health develop in 7-day-old microgreens cultivated by complete beginners. The 15th century monastery tradition continues in your hands. 1 5-gallon bucket, 1 square of burlap fabric, 1 bag of perilla seeds, 7 days to your first harvest. Its omega-3 content exceeds any other plant source ever measured. Independence from supply chains that profit from your repeated purchasing while depleting shared ocean resources. Each harvest cycle teaches you more about the process. Each rotation builds confidence and skill. Each bucket represents self-sufficiency that no supplement company can provide and no market fluctuation can disrupt. The compounds that support human health develop in plants you grew yourself from seeds you selected and water you provided. The temple cooks who perfected this method never sought patents. They never raised venture capital. They passed knowledge through apprenticeship and practice, master to student, generation to generation. The tradition survived because it works. The method continues because it serves human needs rather than corporate profits. Subscribe to Secrets Beneath Nature and watch the next video to discover what else you can grow at home. The knowledge belongs to everyone willing to learn.